Hello! Welcome! We are back with another painting day. How's everyone doing today? Paint Liquor, Tim, what's up? Level 99 Toy Hunter, what's up? How's it going? Arctic, Songer, James, hello! We are continuing forth on our goal to paint all of our Star Wars miniatures. You guys picked Magna Guard yesterday. So that is what we're going to continue doing today. Starting with these two fine gentlemen right here. Which look really cool, by the way. These models are sweet. So, first things first, like I was talking about. Yeah, the Royal We. We're going to paint these cloaks in the sandy, desaturated color that they're supposed to. Northeast kept some N95 masks. What's going on? There's some wildfires or something? Forest fires, Tim. Refill my palette real quick. Dried the heck out in Canada. All right. Pardon me, I stuffed my face right before stream, so I'm gonna take a second to clear my face out. Okay. Back to models. So I've done a little research, and I figured out what these guys need to look like. Templar. Thank you for the prime. Any update on brushes? Hopefully we're gonna hear something this week. Is kind of what we're hoping to hear. If you're ever wondering when the latest awesome product is coming out, the answer is soon.
Well, huzzah. I'll just throw back my legs and pollute my breeches with delight.
So we're gonna throw a wash on this metal, I think, first before we do the cloak, but then we're gonna paint the cloak. Also, I just missed a gnarly mold line on this thing. That's embarrassing. Let me clean that up real quick. Just ignore me, chat. Not doing anything terrible. It's totally fine. Alright. Good enough. Alrighty, so wash-wise, I want to do something in between a black wash, maybe with a little bit of blue in it. Let me make up some cool wash here. Let me grab my washes really quick. Brown wash. Oh no, we got black wash right here. And the brown wash is somewhere around here, right in front of my face. So, we're going to take this black wash. And to it, we're going to add some glaze and wash medium. With just a hint. We're not going to use that one. Touch of blue black. Oh, I put a lot on the palette. Okay. The big oopsies. And the brown wash. Oh, Mo, how's it going? We got the Lion Creative in chat as well. We got the whole crew. Hope you guys are all having a wonderful day. Just in case you weren't here yesterday, Jason and Jen are both furiously getting all their stuff packed up and moved over to their new house. This is why Jason will not be here today, or Jen for that matter. However, they will be back tomorrow, from what I understand. So we will be able to get their bright and shiny faces back on stream very soon. But until then, you've got me to contend with. We got this kind of like bluish gray wash, which we're just going to go ahead and throw over this guy. You like the most recent ad? They've been pretty funny, not gonna lie. Those new ads are great. Alright. So we're doing this wash to darken up the recesses and give us a nice platform to build up a little bit of brightness. But also to darken up the interior skeleton of this guy, because the inside is definitely a little bit darker than the outside is, as far as the robot skeleton for these guys. They definitely have like a weathered gray armor, which we're gonna do, but I want to set a good solid foundation for the colors underneath, so that when we do go over them with the brush, the underside looks really nice. And that's why we're doing the wash. Tim, you said it was on the east side? The northeast side of Canada? Yeah? Okay. I got a friend who lives on the west coast. Up in Victoria. Well, actually I have quite a few friends that live up in Victoria. So, worth asking about. Just to make sure that they're all doing okay. Alright, so we got that. We're gonna do this one real quick. Glaze and wash medium. Yeah, you're in Pennsylvania heading to Rhode Island? Okay, yeah, you're way up west. Or east, excuse me. Apparently I am directionally challenged, chat. I often say the opposite direction of what I mean. Happened actually just the other day when we were going to lunch. I was like, turn right here. I was like, we actually need to turn left here, Jordan. Oh, yeah, I guess that makes a lot of sense. Oops. So how's everyone's day been so far? Hope it's been nice and chill for a hump day of a Wednesday. Getting over the hump in the middle of the week. Been a busy day for us over here. I hope you guys have had a nice, relaxing one so far. D4 all day. A bunch of my friends took like a whole week off for D4 release, which is pretty wild if I have to say so myself. It is, that's a lot of time to play D4 for. So, right on, Charles. Right on. Glad to see you in chat today. Hope you're having a good time. Trying to paint up some Magna Guards. Got this guy's face that we want to hit. Boom. All right. That's it for wash status. And then we are going to move on to these cloaks. Now, for the colors, I think some dark ivory will probably be mixed into here. Because they're kind of like grayish cloaks, but they're sandy in color as well, so maybe some yellow ochre mixed with some gray of some kind. Warm gray might be good. Let's see what that looks like. Ooh, dark warm gray, I like that. Let's see where we get with this mix. Probably needs a little bit of brown. So if I grab an umber, dark umber, just to balance it out a little bit, add some more warmth back in. I think that's going to be where we want to be for the cloak. So just so you guys can see, or you can see it on the palette cam. Perfect. We've got this kind of greenish gray color that we got from mixing the yellow ochre in with the dark warm gray. We're going to add a little bit of this brown. And that's a great starting point for it right there. Scooch this over. So we're going to start. We're going to apply this to all the spots where this cloak is going to be. Some of this in here as well. We're going to be careful to not hit any of the work that we've already done. Layoff in T-minus 15 working days. Looking forward to a long summer break. That's awesome. Hope you enjoy your summer break. Before figuring out your plans. Clear this notification out so I can see the rest of the chat. There we go. I like this color actually quite a lot. It's a really kind of dark cloth color, like dark gray, brown, green. Got that nice feeling of age to it. I always loved seeing these models or these droids in the movie. I thought they were really cool. And I'm glad that they have some amount of representation in the games. Very cool. Zoom in so you guys can head here. Up. Beneath here. Underside of this cloak as done as possible. These parts are always kind of the most sketchy part of a model like this when you're working on it. I always am afraid to hit parts of the model when I go back and do it. But I think we managed to do a good job of not hitting anything on the back of the model. It's awesome. So, we got that done. There's a little bit here at the head we gotta finish. Alright, that's good. I'm gonna move on to this guy. Man, this pose is so great. The cloak kind of flapping out in the wind like that, it's super cool. We're gonna replicate what we did on the previous model on here. Going in there. Kind of get into it at the best angle that I can so that my brush doesn't touch the model. Alright. Almost got the inside of this cloak done. I think the goal with these cloaks is probably to not do too much work on the inside. Just so I don't have to mess around too much with accidentally hitting anything. Probably going to mostly keep that color the same. Alright. Almost done. Alright. Little flakiness in here. Just kind of weird. From my brush. Hit the top of the head here. Front part of the cloak is across here. Head. Part. There we go. Okay. So we have 2 Magnagard painted cloaks. Looking nice. So now, here's the question. Where do we go from here? Well, I think the answer is to add a touch more yellow. Water. Glazing medium. Start there. And we're just going to feather this out. Damp brush. Like we did before. Here. Apply a little bit of that highlight there. As that goes into the shadow, we're going to take our damp brush and we're going to blend it. And this should create some nice transitions for us. Might need to go back again, force it. That's a nice starting point. Yeah, wow, chat is quiet today. It's been a quiet day for chat. You guys were much more talkative yesterday. What's going on? Where's everyone at? Y'all were chatting up a storm at the beginning. Work will do that for you. Well, don't worry. I'll at least talk. Keep you guys entertained while you're working. And we'll see what we can make of these awesome models. Tim, how's your Rumpelstiltskin going? Hope you are still having as much of a blast as you were talking about the other day. Nose deep in Magnus the Red. Nice. You posted a picture? I'll have to go back and take a look at it after stream, Tim. It's a pretty subtle highlight. Kind of see the difference here between what we've got going on now and what we did with our previous layers. So it's nice and subtle. You're busy dremeling out the top of every single grate on 6 buildings. So that my LED lights on which buildings? Baby J, you're supposed to entertain us, not the other way around. Hey, look, I am doing what I can over here, talking about painting. Trying to engage chat. Oh, Shatterpoint core and high ground? Okay. Are those actually two different sets? I didn't get a chance to really look at the train sets very much, and I couldn't tell if they were two sets or not, or if they're the same set, just duplicated. Arctic Mini, you're doing your own personal colors for your Thousand Suns. That's cool. You're not even following the box art or canon colors. That's even cooler. Oh, they have some duplication, but both the train sets have new stuff. Okay, cool. About 50% the same as the core. Okay. Oh well, I'll have to look into that then. I thought it was exactly the same as the core, like what they did with MCP when they released it. Because when MCP came out, all that terrain was such a great deal. In High Ground is fantastic. Best thing they've made so far. Okay. Well, heck, I'm gonna have to take a look. That's pretty high praise. Alright, so we got the first highlights done on here. And we're going to go here for the next ones. We're going to have to remix some of this because it's out a bit. Alright, so we're going to hit here, here. Clean off our brush and get it all damp. We're going to start wiping away. Add some of this color here. Blend it back out. Nice smooth transitions. Bottom. Pretty good. So we'll let that dry. We're going to do the same thing up here. You can see there that fold comes in. That. Just like so. And then I'm going to soften this transition on the inside of the fold so that it's a little bit softer and not quite as harsh. You didn't like feathers before you started Magnus, and now you absolutely hate them? Hey, look, I've been there so many times when I've painted models with feathers on them. Pretty much every time I paint models with feathers on them, I feel the same exact way, Arctic. It's obnoxious. It can be okay if you're going real easy with it and not, you know, doing fancy feathers with all the little hashes and stuff. But if you're really going all out and you're painting feathers, then yeah, it's pretty rough. So it's a rough day to be a painter when it's time to paint feathers. It does look so cool though when it's done. That's the funny part is that the trade-off is definitely worth it. But it's difficult, that's for sure. Yeah, trim's kind of the same way. It's a lot of that, like, very detailed, like, control, like, brush control stuff where you have to really be paying attention. You have to go slow, but you want to go fast because you want to get the project done because it's a pain in the butt. So I get it. Those things can be real difficult. Tony, what's up? You're gonna be radio silent for the next month or so. Finish painting challenge. We'll see what happens. Keep kicking ass. All right, Stoney. I will let him know tomorrow when he's in. I'm sorry to hear that you're getting everything dumped on you, buddy. We will definitely see you back when you can take some time to get some air. We will definitely be here, painting up a storm like we usually do. Just make sure you get some rest and relaxation when you can. Oh yeah. Is that a bomb hug? That's awesome. Man, Jason's got so many cool emotes. Gotta do something about that. Gotta get some cool Baby J emotes. Cool Baby J emotes. I don't even know what I would do for emotes for me. These inverted from armor colors that I'm going to do from Rubik's ivory armor with jade and bronze trim. Oh, that's cool. Jade with ivory and bronze trim. That's super cool. You need an animated one for WAD. So these blends are not as smooth as I would normally do. Normally I would do a couple of different layers of this blending and going back and forth to make sure that you get a really nice super smooth blend. But since these are going to be a little bit more beat up because they're actively working droids, they're getting into battles and getting beat up and weathered, we can have a little bit more rough blends and some texturing, which is kind of the cool effect that you get from doing this with one pass of the blend instead of doing multiple passes, which will help smooth it out a lot. But all I'm doing is I'm just applying this paint, and then while it's still wet, I'm taking a damp brush and I'm starting off with the paint and I'm just blending into the wet paint. And as I blend into it, it starts to smooth it out and feather it out, and then I draw my paintbrush back out and it'll pull that paint down in a gradient as I go. That's how you get those really nice smooth blends. Or at least one of the ways that you can do it. This is a very easy way, once you kind of figure out the dry time and consistency that you're looking for on your paint, that you can really get really nice smooth blends without a ton of extra effort of building up layer after layer after layer after layer. Witchcraft! I don't know, Mo. I don't think it's very witchcrafty. And if it's witchcraft, I'm teaching you my ways, so you are becoming one with the knowledge of witchcraft. So, I don't know. Is it actually witchcraft, Mo? You gotta tell me. Alright. So now we're gonna start incorporating some of that dark ivory. We're gonna switch to a slightly smaller brush. Before we do that, we're gonna remix that previous layer. Brown, a little bit more brown, a bit more yellow. Go. Glaze and wash medium into this as well. Palette down so you guys see it. Hipster Gumby, what's up? Gabe, we've got Gabe in the house. Gabe and I have got some fun stuff planned to record tomorrow. Yeah, here, you know what, Mo? Let me see if I can... Do I have a good model to show... Oh, actually, I'll just do it on the base. What's a good base to do this on? I'll grab his base and we'll do it on this base. So, we're going to take some brown and we're going to apply it. Oops, sorry. We're going to apply it right here. It's actually a little thicker than I would normally do, or thinner rather. So, I'm going to apply a nice little glob right there. So, completely cleaning off the brush, wiping it off on my palette, but it's still a little damp. And I'm going to start down here. And I don't know if you can see this sheen, but there's a little bit of water. So we're going to work down here. And you can see, as I blend it in, I'm just working my paintbrush back and forth as I move it into the puddle of paint and as I draw it down. And you can see this nice, slightly transparent gradient that I get as I bring it down. Tony boy, welcome back for the 5-month streak. How's it going? You've never seen it done this way? This is something I picked up when I was working at Privateer. Typically they would do it with 2 brushes, and they'd like keep a brush in their mouth and they would paint from there. So they would have like one brush here, and then they would just apply with one brush and they would blend with another. I stopped doing that because, well, you can just do it with one brush. So yeah, if I'm gonna start a blend here, this is basically right out of the pot. And then I'm getting my brush a little bit dry there. And you can see I'm going in, and then I'm bringing that color down over this. That was probably a little bit too much water on the brush, but as you do this technique more and more and more, you can make a little bit more wet blends work, or a little bit drier blends work, because you get a sense of how to keep your brush nice and smooth with the passes back and forth. And as long as you're really consistent, with how smoothly you're moving the brush back and forth, you're going to get really nice results out of it. And you can do it in really small areas, you can do it in really large areas. You're going to see me painting it with this kind of, I don't even know what color this is really, but this kind of brown, light brown color here. And I'm applying it right here. And then we're going to get the brush as dry as we can. And then we're going to start at the top And then we're going to blend it out from there. And you can see how well that just creates a nice smooth blend. We can turn the model this way and get a little bit better access to that fold. And we're just going to work it in like that. And you can see we'll do it on this edge here as well. Oh, we're going to do it on this edge here as well. We're going to grab our paint. We're going to put it there. And we're going to blend it down first. Smoothing it out like that. And then on the top, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to readjust my positioning here so I can try and get the tip of the brush towards where that line is. And then sometimes you have to do it in single strokes like this. But as long as you're nice and consistent, you're going to get good results with it. And right now I'm just trying to smooth everything out as best as I can. Move the paint around. We're going to let that dry. Arctic Me, I remember watching you while you did though. I did it myself for a while and then it just got irritating to juggle brushes. Yeah, oh yeah, 100%. Because it's like you'd be applying with like this brush. So I'd have a brush here, and I'll go in, right? And I'll go and I'd apply, and then I would take this brush, which would already be damp, and then I would do the blend right away. And that's just to save you the time going back and forth. But I've found that as long as you have the right consistency of paint, you can wait a little bit longer and go back and blend it out. Because that paint, especially if you're using something like the medium, will do a great job of giving you a little bit extra working time. And remember, when you're doing this, you really don't want to thin out your paints a lot. You want to keep them pretty thick. That way they have a little bit longer drying time. It gets old quick though. Yeah, I mean, this was the way I painted for a very, very long time. I painted exclusively this way for almost 3 years. So, you get used to it. You definitely get used to it. It is more difficult to do with darker or with brighter colors than it is to do with darker colors, I've noticed. The darker colors are a lot more forgiving with the blending. But you can certainly do these blends with lighter colors. We're we're gonna keep going with these brighter colors. We want to brighten up this cloak quite a bit. I think I ended up going with a slightly too dark base coat on this, which is okay. Just means we got to build up a couple more layers. But what I think I might do is, instead of doing the blending, which can take a little bit more time, since I'm going to be doing value adjustments on these, I'm going to just paint it in, and then we'll glaze our shadow back in afterwards. So we're going to layer these instead of blending them like we were just doing. Gives me a little bit better control. Might even be able to do a little bit of wet blending in here. It's also give us an opportunity to do this nice kind of like texture-y blends too. It'll still look really nice. I'll have to practice that on Rumpelstiltskin's hat. Yeah. It's great. What I can actually do here is I can mix some of this brown with the black blue that we had before. We can blend in some shades here that I think might work a little bit better. So you guys can see, as I do this blend on a darker color, you can see how much more forgiving it can be on the darker colors than on the brighter colors. This is a little bit of a combination of that and wet blending, what I'm doing right now. But when you work like this, it almost acts like an oil. Which is super cool. Just blends right on the model, which is super neat. Kind of where we want to bring the value up to. Cloak. And you can see how I'm using a lot of different techniques here, depending on how I want to blend the colors together. So having a lot of different tools at your disposal is really nice, to be able to always have the right technique or the right tool for the specific application of what you're trying to do. Nutrimenta, no, I'm wiping off the brush in between. So the brush is a little damp, but it's not wet. Yeah, so if you can see on my thumb here, let me see if I can get the reflection. You can see, you might even see, but get it about as damp as I would normally get it. You can see it's got some moisture there, but it's not beating up. So damp, but not wet is the key there. So moist. Using some of this finger blending power as needed. Now we're just getting some of these folds taken care of. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow, Spider Guy. Welcome to today's stream. If you have not been here already, welcome. My name is Jordan, also known as Monument Baby J. I am one of the fantastic schmantic painters on here. Thank you, Tim, for the Discord link.
Somebody likes us.
Rexatron 2005, thank you for the follow.
Hey, somebody likes us.
If you are new to Monument Hobbies, we are the manufacturers of Acryl, which is all the paints that we are using here on stream. Monument Acryl, which can be found on our wonderful store. If you have any questions, you can hang out on the Discord and ask. We got a huge community full of fantastic painters who are very active on there, answering questions or talking about their cool or awesome projects. You can also ask questions here on stream. We are more than happy to answer. I know I say we, even though it's only me today. Normally there are two of us, myself and Jason, who has been here for a very long time. Jason, also known as Slow Fuse, on the Discord. We love hanging out with you guys and talking about painting, talking about other random stuff, which happens all the time. So, welcome. Alright, so what I'm going to do to make this next cloak a lot easier, and the inside of this cloak better, so I'm just going to base coat some highlights where they're going to belong. So we're going to go on camera for one. And we're going to go here. And we're going to go here. We're going to go here. This is kind of a great example of identifying kind of your bands of highlight and shadow. So right now I'm just establishing where the bulk of this color needs to be, and then I'm going to shade and highlight it to meet where it needs to be for everything else. So you can see I'm kind of almost turning this into a new midtone, but not quite. And then we're going to go back and we're going to take darker color. We're going to mix it in a little bit more. We're going to thin it down with some glaze and wash medium. Water. And then we're going to go over and we're just going to glaze this into the recesses. Just pulling the paint where it's supposed to be. We're going to let this dry. While we're letting that dry, we're going to get this and we're going to start applying it on the inside part of this cape. Next models I'm working on, they're not going to have capes. There's a lot of capes being painted on stream right now. And much like feathers, it can be a bit of a pain in the butt. Color down there. Add this color down here to try and bridge this gap. Other colors to this. Don't say feathers. I can't say that I won't say feathers, Arctic. Well, maybe I can. For you, I'll avoid saying feathers. Just make sure that y'all watch me feather out this paint as I'm putting it on the model. That cape's looking pretty good. Pretty good. I'm gonna let that dry for a minute. We're gonna come back to this cape. Kind of the same thing we just did. Get some of those first layers of shadow in there. We're gonna add this in there, that in there. And these are just small adjustments as I'm going to make sure that the right color is going in the right spot for this here project. Hello. Hi. Welcome. We have Jacob. He probably won't talk on stream, but he's going to enjoy some wonderfully comfy couches. I wish I had the opportunity to do that, but instead I have to be over here enjoying painting miniatures instead, which is honestly a pretty good trade, to be fair. Arctic Mini, I'll see you later. Ugh. Capes are taking forever. That's okay, because once they're done, that's literally the hardest part. Then we just got to do some highlights. What colors did I use to prime the models? Senor Diablo, I primed the models black, and then I airbrushed dark warm gray, warm gray, which is around here somewhere. Promise, it's around here somewhere. Warm gray, and then a little bit of bright warm gray to give us kind of the base coats, because it's the same color that I did for the base on Count Dooku. Was the warm gray before I did all the adjustments to it. So we're going to start out with that color, but instead of having to hand apply it like I did on Dooku, I just airbrushed it. Also, these guys have gray armor, so it made sense to start out with a nice neutral gray, or not neutral gray, but warm gray highlight. And then we're just going to paint and do the weathering on top of it. But the primer layer was just black. Yeah, of course. Of course. My pleasure. All right, we're gonna get a little bit of these details done on the cloak here. Gonna hop in here. Paint all the little details in the hood area. Hitting all the edge highlights. where the folds are exposed, leaving the shadow in the recessed part of the fold. Start this brighter color up at the shoulder here. We're just going to bring it down. Back onto model. Got that nice highlight coming through. And this highlight, you'll notice that we're keeping brighter at the top and we're letting it fall down quite a bit as we go further down the model. This goes back to volumetric highlighting that we were talking about yesterday, where you want to focus your highlights towards the top of model, or I should say your value of the highlights towards the top of the model, and to make it darker towards the bottom of the model. This is just to keep that natural flow of light going from head to foot. Cloak is actually turning out pretty nice at this point. Looking like it's almost done. Do some shadows and one more highlight pass probably. Looking nice already. Let's see if we can't get the other cloak to the same spot. So we're looking pretty close already in value. We've got a little bit of work yet to do on these parts here, but this part's looking pretty good. We could probably bring it up and sharpen it out a little bit. Thinning down this paint. Making sure we get nice, strong, opaque layers. We want them to be. Highlight down. The edge down here. This is going to go here. Good. Down a little bit. We're going to do a little bit of the finger blending here. Boom. Just hitting that a little bit to blend it down. See how that softens out that transition at the bottom right here? Nice. Like that. So we're going to go here. We're going to paint that. By hat, I mean hood, although it is kind of a weird shape because it doesn't have a top to it. Definitely getting in here. I think one good pass of highlights to where we're at once this is all done, and then a layer of quick shadows, glazed in shadows, I think will make it look perfect. And then we can do the freehand on it, which will be fun. These guys have some cool designs on their cloaks. Not super fancy, of course, but it is something nonetheless. So we're going to smooth this out here. Slowly doing this blend like we were talking about earlier. Much better now. A little bit on this bottom part here. Brought it up to where the crevice is. Then we're going to blend it up through there. Where it makes fingerprint on here, so I'm going to blend this in really quick. Try and smooth it out. Good. And then we're going to hit the bottom part of this. All right. I'm liking it very much. Another pass here. This definitely needs to be brighter in here. Bring in this highlight. So because this is really facing upwards, I want to make sure that most of this is getting hit by the brighter color, except for the turn of the cloak here at the very end. So we're just going to blend this back in. Alright, so that's not so bad. We are pretty much nearing the end of the cloak. I'm going to do a couple of really fine blends here, just to try and get some of this color on the inside of the cape. This got a little too wet. You can see how it's starting to pool right here. So we're going to pull as much of that out as we can. And we're just going to apply some paint over that damp area. And then we're going to blend that out. I'm going to dry the brush off again. Still a little damp, which is okay. And then we're going to work on feathering this paint out. And because it was already wet before, that paint's not going to dry out really fast, which is great. So we can actually get in here and blend it out to look really nice. Another little bit of highlight there. Oh. Digbo, thank you for the follow. Cool Pack. Good question. Do you prefer to blend up to highlights or blend down to shadows? So I find when I'm using this specific technique, shadows blend easier. They're more forgiving. Highlights, the brighter colors tend to dry fast, in my in my experience, and they tend to get chalky a lot easier when you're doing this. So you got to be careful when you're blending them, and you got to blend them in small chunks very fast so that you don't run into those kinds of issues. When you're blending down into the shadows, which I'll show you here in a minute because we're going to blend some shadows into this, you'll notice that it blends much smoother
Hey, somebody likes us.
than the other colors do. Jacob just got scared by the follow voiceover. He's gotten a little scared. It spooked him good. So we're just getting the inside of this cape here. Alright, if it's a little rough, we just want a little bit of that brightness on the inside. Yeah, it's looking good. Okay. So, what do we want to do for these final highlights? Well, we're going to go do brighter color. This is almost pure dark ivory. And this is thinned down a lot more. We're almost going to glaze this instead of blending it. Yeah, 100% glazing down into the shadows is much more forgiving. Yeah, that's definitely my experience so far. In my, frankly, many years doing this. So, didn't really like how that placement was. It was a little too low on the model for that level of brightness. But up here, for sure, is a good spot for it. Using standard highlighting techniques here, nothing fancy. We're just hitting those edges where the cloak would be bright. Boom. And we're going to add this to the back side here. This will be a little bit in shadow. This mix a little bit more of this highlight color into here. It doesn't feel quite as stark of a contrast. There we go. That's much better. So that is back side of that. This down here. Beneath the hat. A little bit of shape and dimension in that. There we go. This cape is almost done. We're gonna work on this one, which needs a bit of brightening up. Those final highlights. So we're gonna work on that. Is there a way to turn black wash into more gray than its properties? Need to paint up some clone troopers? Yeah, absolutely. Coolpack's got it right. Adding some transparent white and some glaze and wash medium is a great way to go. Fantastic advice. And we're just hitting these upper highlight areas like we did before. Hit some of these lower ones just to add a little bit of brightness. Not a ton though. Alright, I'm liking it. I'm liking it. These. Highlights on the top of the hood here. Edge here. Bring down. Little edge on here. Normally I wouldn't go too crazy on that edge just because of what we were talking about with the value, but adding a little bit of brightness to it helps kind of pull it away from the other cloth or the other part of the cape. Then let's do a little bit of a highlight inside. Get this here. Finger blend that out. A little bit more of a dark color here. Goal is just to add a little bit more brightness on the inside there. Same thing here. All right. Now, we're going to add a touch of blue shading mixed with a little bit of brown. It's going to be our dark umber here. Get a nice cool shadow for these. And this, going back to what we were talking about how to paint, or how the darker colors tend to blend better using this type of technique. We're going to show that to you right now so you guys can see. Send this down more. Gonna throw it in like this. And I'm just gonna blend it. Same way that we were talking about before. Same exact pathway of doing it. Much more blue, I think. Just a little bit here. And this I kind of want to just almost glaze in. And what this blue does is it kills some of that warmth that we built up from the beginning in the cloth, turning it a little bit more of like a gray than like a brown cloth, but still having a little bit of that brown in it as well. Nice color in there. So we're lining up these crevices really quick. We're going to hit the inside of this. Remember, this is basically glaze consistency, so it's not adding a ton there. And where we want it to be real dark, you just go up and add it on this part. We can blend out with a bigger brush, like a this. This guy, his cloak is done. Oh yeah. This guy, his cloak is almost done. Getting this shadow we're bringing up. Get the little tip of the cape that flows up like that. And we're just blending it out. All right, and then we're going to do the inside, and then that's it. Grab our slightly more opaque paint, shove it up in here, inside. All right, yeah, that's awesome. I like where we're going with this. So let's see here. How to go about finishing up. Oh. See, sometimes that'll happen. We get a weird little dry spot where it didn't dry quite right. We're gonna have to go back in here. A little bit of emergency surgery. And then just blend that back out like that. So I applied that highlight color and then found a mid-tone between that and the slightly damp kind of glaze that we just put in. And then I just blended them together. And because it was still damp, it took to paint really, really well. And the highlight color obviously was still damp, so it blended in nicely as well. This little edge right here. Do that, and then we're going to darken it up with our shadow. Then we're going to blend that out. I definitely don't want that hard line right there. So we're going to smooth it out. And you guys can see all of these shadow blends that we've been doing blend so much smoother than the brighter highlight colors do. Awesome. We got that done. Now we can start looking at yeah, this looks in conjunction with our Dooku so far. Good. So we're going to start working on these highlights. For the gray. These MagnaGuard, man. I still can't tell. Really supposed to be chrome, or if they're really supposed to be kind of the color Grievous. Do not know. Not really. They're like dark gray, or here, come look at the pictures that I've got going on here. So there's like this,
yeah,
right, which is like painted steel that's chipped away. You have like little metal bits that are exposed.
yeah.
Or you have this, which just looks like painted armor, right? That's just weathered. Or you have the studio ones, which are just very clearly like a bluish steel.
Or the second one? Or it's just
Because this is like blue,
yeah,
but this is not like chrome. It's like painted blue that's been
yeah.
chipped.
I think because they're just metal
Yeah,
paint on.
yeah. So we're gonna do the brighter color, and we're gonna do some weathering on it.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna take our bright warm gray. We're gonna take warm gray. Get her? Okay. Say goodbye to Jacob, chat. The cartoon?
Yeah.
Some of it. Okay, we'll talk later. Jacob, get back to work. That is true words have never been spoken. Truer words. Alright, so I think I'm going to start by doing some chipped effects here. Like a really, really rough blend of this highlight. And this is just a mix of bright warm gray and warm gray. We're going to stipple this down, working with it while it's still wet, like we were talking about. And we're going to do some further weathering with other colors after this, but to build an established concept of like chipped armor. This is sort of just turning into some nice smooth blends because of how thin this color is that I'm working on, or working with here. But we'll definitely make sure we get this stippled texture in for sure. Get the inside of this, like that. You can see like that. And we're getting that nice feel of weathered and beaten up metal. Same thing on this like hip joint right in here. Stippled highlights in there. The boots. So a lot of this is going to be kind of like edge highlighting and then just defining the areas where that weathering is at. inside. Hopefully I can get a good angle to show you guys this part. Oh, there we go. Should work. Inside of the deck like that. Thanks so much, Bakumaru. We're actually trying to do some painted metal here, so we're gonna do some more weathering effects. But having it look a little bit like non-metallic metal is probably not a bad idea either. We're gonna figure it out. If it ends up looking better like non-metallic metal, I am not gonna be unhappy about that. We'll just ship it and call it a day. Oh, I'm Bakumaru, to be honest with you, I've done I've done these models in true metallic metal, and it's not easy either. Because you still have to paint a lot of the that like surface reflection and stuff in it anyways. So it can really be a challenge to do that. And I've painted them to a pretty good standard in that at that level. And it is, yeah, it's not trivial. But yeah, maybe, I don't know, maybe these just look better with non-metallic metal that's just kind of beat up. In which case, I will be plenty happy with that result. Probably be easier to paint it that way anyways, if I'm going to be honest. So maybe we lean into it. Yeah, the electro stuff I'm kind of leaving for last because that's going to be the fun part. Although I suppose we might be able to do that early before the end of stream today. Just because I know we did the lightsaber not yesterday but the day before for the first day of Dooku on stream. Ashtray 9000, thank you for the follow. Bakumaru, yeah, I did. Do you want to see him real quick? Got him right in front of me.
Somebody likes us.
Yeah, we finished up Dooku yesterday. Got him all done. So my man Dooku is all finished. I'm ready to go with his fancy schmancy droids. Yeah, you know, I spent a lot of time kind of making sure that the right colors really stood out on him. Like having two really dark colors like these dark brown pants and the black. And then having the black tunic and these boots that are really shiny be distinct. It's really important that when you're working on like textures and you're working on finish, that those things really come out because it's a great way to show separation for different types of textures and surfaces, even though these are very similar in color. And then after these guys, which we've been painting up today, we have a Django Fett, which will be super fun to finish out the week on. I don't know if I'll be able to paint him in a day. Probably not, if I'm being honest. However, he is going to be super fun to paint. And I've got a game scheduled on Friday with all these models, so I can get a chance to try out the game, which will be super cool, because while I love these models, I've not actually learned much about the game. So I'll have to have Ruben and Ruben and Eric give me a once over on the game. But I have a lot of stuff to build yet for that day. So, got the face sort of painted up there. The arm up here. Shoulder plate. Darker gray underneath this. Alright, so I think I got this guy pretty well spaced out. First thing I'm going to do actually is I'm going to get in here. I'm going to put some black wash into these recesses of the plates. So that these metal bits look like they're more metal. Didn't think about doing that earlier. Or rather, didn't quite get as far with it as I would have liked with just that first wash that I did. We're going to come back in another wash here. Hip joints out here. Half joint. Ankle. Just trying to make sure that there's a nice bit of contrast between those parts and the actual armor plating itself. Alright. So, we're going to work on this guy. We're going to do the same thing. Except we have a little bit better access to all the gears and stuff. Because we don't have arms crossed in front of model. Great. And we're throwing this up here. Definitely excited to see this is all going to look like once everything is all put together. Bit of an elbow. Point here. Ankle. Like thigh. This isn't even a hip joint. This is like a weird thigh Bone joint. I don't know. It's not even a joint. Got it. I think we're mostly looking good. This. Because the arm bent. Have to work other bit. Claw, finger things. Metal. And then that, I think, is good. Oh, this guy would look really good in non-metallic metal. He's just got really good surface for it. Ugh. Why? Why, oh why? Because I like to punish myself? I do. Mo, I have not been here that long, but you have learned wisely about me in such time. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna do some like weathering on it for sure. And if I hate it, I'll just like push it a little bit into the non-metallic realm. Maybe do like a weird hybrid of both concepts where it's like chrome beat up like chrome with blue and have it look kind of just like worn, chipped and painted armor, which is much more standard for Lord of the Rings, for the Star Wars universe too, which is why it's so weird to me that they would be chrome. Because in the movies they would be obviously chrome, but they're not. But the weird thing is the studio models are painted like they're like a blue silver, or a blue steel rather, which is kind of odd. Edge of this front plate here. If I was there in the flesh, I think we would get on quite well, truth be told. Yeah, honestly, Mo, I think so too. Maybe we will meet at a convention at some point in the future. It would be super fun. I know I got a chance to meet some of you folks at Adepticon, although I didn't have a super great reference as to who you were at the time. I will definitely enjoy the experience a lot more now that I know and have gotten a chance to hang out and meet all of you fine, upstanding members of the community. Except for that Tim guy. Fine, not necessarily upstanding. We'll see. We'll see. That Tim guy, though. Oof. I hope Tim is actually still here so that he can speak out. Lumberjack Tim is a hero. Hey, he's a pretty good guy, I guess. What's with the sound? File needs, I don't know. Do you have the audio muted? I don't think people have been having trouble hearing me all day. You got a little muted sound next to your thingamabob. No, there it is. Okay. Okay. Can't get rid of that stupid thing? I've never noticed it before. I literally have no idea what it is. I only noticed it because you asked about audio. It's been a nice quiet stream today. I think everyone is busy working. I suppose I can't blame anybody for. You know, gotta be a respectable employee and all that or something. Where's the old man? He is moving. It's moving day. He has packed all of the stuff out of his old place, and they are getting it moved into their new place today. He and Jen are both out of the office today, so they will be back tomorrow. Since all the packing or all the moving will be done, and so you got that to look forward to for tomorrow. Thank you for the sub, Vile. But yeah, they both will be back tomorrow, as far as I'm aware, unless something crazy happens with the move, which I suppose is possible, but hopefully doesn't happen. I don't know what he's going to be working on, but he will be back. So that's going to happen. I'm sure he will be excited to be back on stream, but definitely a benefit now that I'm here that you guys can still have your stream every day. There you go. Thank you for the follow, Archimedes.
Hey, somebody likes us.
All right. We are just about done with this stage of the model. And then we finally get to do a little bit more work on kind of refining everything down, which will be awesome. I think that's going to probably be a tomorrow project. But we're going to finish off where we are right now before we go anywhere. Cannot get rid of the auto thing. It's the only channel that it shows up on. I don't know. You should ask. You're the chosen silent one. You should ask Jason when he's back tomorrow, because he would have a better idea than I why that is there, since he has been doing this stream for, gosh, 5 years, something like that. Man has been streaming a lot. We're doing... Ooh, we are almost done with this silly part of the model. My goodness. I am excited about that. Doing all this like little tedious stippling work. That was a little bit of a pain in the butt. But it always tends to look really good when it's done, so you gotta put the time in and the effort in to make it all look good. All right. There it is. You want to know why you no longer get notifications in Discord? You have it set to all, but I only get mentions? That's really weird, Tim. I don't know. I can take a look at Discord today. I don't see any reason why you would only be getting mentions. That's very odd. Just stopped out of nowhere? That's bizarre. I'm gonna be a little lazy and I'm gonna do the base on one of these guys real quick first before we go anywhere. Because I want to. And I want to see what the contrast looks like. Because the bases are all very gray right now. Somebody said it's the size of the channel. That doesn't make any sense though. Can't see why the size of the channel would have anything to do with a higher volume, or with you not getting, you specifically not getting mentions. Or not getting notifications, I should say. Are you talking about like audio notifications, or are you talking about like actual notifications? Because I know Discord channels will illuminate for me when people have been talking in them, and then I will get a specific notification when I get a mention. It'll be like a red. Yeah? I am here. I am with Monument. I have been here for... Gosh, Chad, how long have I been here for? Since end of March. So a few, going on 2 months now, 2.5 months. Tim, you don't know? Yeah, I'll take a look and see if I can't find any information on that, Tim, and I'll ping you directly and see if we can't sort it out. Get you some help on that front. Do we want to have you be able to see everything? Good. All right, chat. It is 2:15. We are 15 minutes past the end of the day. We're going to do a little bit of an outro, and then we are going to send you guys on your way to a raid somewhere. Thank you so much for hanging out today, you guys. I know it's been a quiet little day, but got a lot of work done. Thank you for the follow. For those of you who are new, we are Monument Hobbies. We do this stream 5 days a week. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We do the streams from 12 to 2. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we do from 2 to 5.
Hey, somebody likes us.
It's a great place where you can hang out like today and find out all about cool painting techniques. And generally just hang out and have good conversations. We have an awesome Discord, which is what we're talking about in chat right now. I will get linked right here. this is a link to our Discord where you can hang out with us and chat when we're off stream. It's our Monument Hobbies Discord where you can hang out. We have challenges every month where you can participate and learn some cool new stuff. And, you know, generally just hang out with our community, which is gigantic and awesome. Thank you, Tim, for linking everything. The store link there is where you can find all the fantastic Monument Hobbies paints, Pro Acryl that we have been using on stream today, as well as all of the other hobby tools that we have. And and the link below is just our store locator, so you can find local stores near to you that carry all of our product in your local game stores. So make sure to check that out, see if you have a store nearby. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. We were going to find somebody to raid. We will see you back here tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Wait, today's Wednesday. Oh my god, I've been losing track of time. Alright, tomorrow, 2 o'clock. Jason will be here, as far as I'm aware. So that'll be really exciting. And stay tuned for the raid. We're going to go find somebody. And thank you guys so much. We will see you tomorrow. See ya.
Year old. I didn't. I'm saying you're old. I didn't say I was old. So Rich was old. Important distinction. A very important distinction. Was that boop noise? Ah. Good evening. Is it both Jason and Baby J this evening? Are you there? I guess it's the first question. Hey, there they are. How you doing? Welcome in. For those coming in with Jason and Baby J, I'm gonna gamble and just assume it was both. If you've not been here before, hello. My name's Aaron, UK-based mini painter. Currently working on Vashtor, the Arcvane, who has been somewhat altered, a little bit. Would be one way of putting it. So working on his at the moment. We do like a bit of non-metallics, but that's where he's at the moment. Big angry purple demon thing. But yeah, we went for a full repose. So I've resculpted his hips and the backs of his legs, resculpted the arm and the shoulder. The other arm's been reposed as well. Right, go big or go home, right? But yeah, currently working on some of the non-metallics. Looks a bit too colourful on camera, if I'm honest. He's not quite that saturated. Let me adjust that slightly. Don't know what's happened to that filter. Oh no, I do know what happened. Because it was off last stream for some reason. The camera completely forgot what settings it was on. And we did it in OBS instead. And that is still too bright. What the fuck? Oh, wrong one. That's why. Hang on. I heard the boop noise. That's better. Okay, that's a bit more closer to reality. And ooh, how do I pronounce this? No.